I'm here today to talk about something that could be really exciting. I think it's really exciting. I'm here today to talk about my keto favorites. We started keto in January. We made the decision last December around, like, I don't know, the 1st or 2nd of December. We just decided, let's try to do keto in January and see what happens, because the keto movement was sort of like gaining speed and we just kind of learned about it, thought it might work for us because we like, our meat. And so we decided to try it. And so we started keto in January, and we actually did really, really well with keto for a long, long time. We stuck with it straight, like just only did keto diet for about 2 months, like through February. And then we started taking the weekends off and just eating what we wanted on the weekends. And it was easy for us to jump from keto to not keto and then back into keto, because keto doesn't feel so restrictive. You can't have a bunch of carbs, right? So the goal with keto is less than 30 net carbs per day, or at least that's how we went with it. If you do it a different way, that's fine. I'm just telling you what we did, okay? So we really did strict keto for a long time, for several weeks. And we learned a bunch in those first 6 or 8 weeks. We learned that carbs hide literally everywhere. All right, let me back up. We didn't know where to start really with keto. We knew more protein, more fat, fewer carbs, right? Because that's how your body gets into ketosis, which is the entire point of the keto diet, is to put your body into the ketosis state. So we downloaded apps, and I think all 3 of us downloaded a different app. I really enjoyed mine. I used the Total Keto Diet app. It's blue and yellow, and it was free. I really liked it because it had carb tracking, so you can track your meals and it will show you your percentages in a pie chart, so you can see kind of where you're supposed to be and where you actually are and how many you've got left. And I just thought it was really visually appealing and easy to use. It was user friendly. You could put your goals in, and it would adjust easily if you needed to do that. And the app also tracked your weight. We weighed once a week on Wednesdays. I don't believe in weighing every day. I don't do that. Sometimes I would weigh every other week or once a month, just because I feel weight fluctuates regularly. Normally that's fine. But the apps really helped us learn where carbs hide. So yes, carbs, bread, pasta, rice are carbs, right? But then what you don't realize is your coffee, how many carbs are in your cup of coffee that you make normally in the morning, right? Or when you go to Starbucks or something. Or then fruit or cereal or pasta sauce. Who thinks about carbs and pasta sauce? But carbs hide everywhere. So using the app to track our food, especially for the first several weeks, it really helped us to learn where carbs were in our food so we could recognize them more easily. And now it's almost second nature to me to think about the carbs in my food. And it's easy for me to sacrifice some carbs for other carbs, Anyway, we did really well with it. And what we really liked was that we could switch back and forth pretty easily. And we didn't feel like we were denying ourselves things that made us happy, It was easy for us to do during the week because I could meal prep. I could make one meal on Monday and make a lot of it, and then we could have leftovers for lunches throughout the week. And then the same thing on Tuesday night, I would make another, a different meal, and it's almost like meal prep, but then we could have that and switch off lunches or freeze meals or portion sizes, so it was easy for us to take things to work and have, for lunch throughout the week. And that was really convenient for us. I feel like meal prep is key with keto because it's really difficult to kind of just throw something together last minute. You have to have really fresh protein and lots of like fresh produce, and you have to know what you're gonna make, because otherwise you just go for the box of pasta in the pantry and you know, it's just, you know, it's better to know what you're gonna make ahead of time and plan for that. I've written down everything on my notebook, but I have some like favorite snacks that I kind of sort of discovered through this keto diet. I knew that there were Parmesan cheese crackers, or like cracker alternatives. I didn't realize I was gonna like them so much. I love cheese, okay? I'm just going to throw that out there. I love cheese. They're Wisps, and this I think is like a brand name. There are lots of different flavors. This is just the Parmesan cheese flavor. I think we have like a ranch flavor in the pantry, and I haven't tried that one. My favorite is the pepper jack cheese. So they're a little bit spicy, but not so spicy I can't handle it. Another thing that I've really been enjoying on keto is full fat yogurt. We make our own yogurt here at home. It's easy, it's cheap. It's like an overnight process, but it's really not so involved. It's really easy. Maybe one day I'll do a video on that, but when you go to the grocery store and you buy yogurt, you have to kind of be aware of what's in your yogurt, because again, carbs hide everywhere. And if you go to the grocery store and you buy a yogurt with fruit in it, chances are it's not just like fruit in the yogurt. Chances are there's a ton of other sugar and weird preservatives that you don't even know what they are in your yogurt. And maybe you're fine with that, but I would prefer to know exactly what's in my food. And it's cheaper to make it here at home, and we use it for everything. Like I use it in other recipes when I'm cooking, so we use a ton of yogurt, and you know, it's good stuff. They're picking up our trash, so if you hear the trash truck, I'm really sorry. What else? Okay, so beef jerky. This is something else I learned. Beef jerky, if you go to the grocery store and you just buy like a Slim Jim, don't look at the carbs because there's a ton in there. Hold on. So I was at Aldi, of all places, and Aldi has some of the weirdest stuff, you know, but it's great stuff. It's really amazing food and great quality, and you just wonder, where did they find this? So I was looking at beef jerky thinking this would be a great snack on keto, and no, I'm wrong. But there was something called biltong, and I'll put the text on the screen. Biltong is sort of like shaved pieces of beef. So it's seasoned, it's cured, but it's not like pressed, and it's not a bunch of other junk with the beef. It's just the beef. So it's like really thin shaved pieces of beef. And I really enjoyed it. There were several different flavors. Other things we've really been loving are, okay, so these, we've been looking for some really good chip alternatives. Adam and Sherry did a video while I was up there, and it was like chicken skins and fish skins alternatives for chips. And I'm not gonna go there. I tried these Quest protein chips. These remind me of Doritos. Like the shape and the texture of them remind me of Doritos. They have 3 flavors, I think. These are the chili lime flavor. They have a nacho cheese flavor and one other one that I can't think of. I think it's in a purple bag. Anyway, these are a little bit spicy. They're too spicy for Sherry. I really enjoy these. The nacho cheese ones are really good too, but they remind me of Doritos, and they're not so hard to eat. And like this whole bag has 140 calories and 3 net carbs. And then like for this whole bag, this is enough for me with like a sandwich for lunch or something, or just like a snack. I take those when I go to Disney. I take them with me as a snack, and it's nice. Going back to cheese, I really enjoy a good like adult lunchable is what I call them. So it's like cheese and meat and vegetables with like a ranch dressing or like a mayonnaise dip or something. I really, really, really love those. And that's something I have loved for a really long time, not just on keto. Like we will do a charcuterie board and like skip the crackers, but like we've been doing that for years, and it's really, really nice. But we found some really cool cheeses. If you have an Aldi grocery store, you have found gold. Like you have found charcuterie board, cheese board dreams, because they have some of the best cheeses we have ever found. Sam's Club has some really cool cheeses, but they're like big chunks. If you're gonna have a big party with a lot of cheese eaters. You can go to Sam's Club and get some cheeses there. But like Aldi has, and this is a big chunk of cheese too, look at this. But this is the roasted garlic with tomato basil semi-soft cheese from Aldi. This one's really, really good. We've had it a couple of times. This one's brand new. It hasn't been opened yet, but this one's not gonna make it very long. That one is gonna be gone in like a couple of days. Also, they have these weird cheeses that are wrapped in like a wax, and so they last forever, but this is the cheddar cheese, and this one. Okay, they had a couple of lemon flavored ones. There was a blueberry lemon one, and that one was gone in like 2 days. But this one is the Wensleydale cheese with limoncello, and this one, sales of this one benefited Alex's lemonade stand. Aldi is the best place that we have found to buy like fun cheeses or interesting cheeses. Fred Meyer up in Alaska, when I was with Adam and Sherry this summer, had Murray's cheese from New York. And so they had some really fun cheeses too, but they didn't have a tomato roasted garlic, tomato basil, semi-soft cheese, and they didn't have a Wensleydale with limoncello. And so I'm just saying, you can find really good cheeses that are really cheap if you have like an Aldi or a Save-A-Lot or even like a Publix or something. Just look for some really fun things. I think it's important to find things that are special, you know, like not just a slice of cheddar cheese that you would put on a sandwich, because that's really boring. You want something that's interesting and flavorful, because I feel like that makes it feel more fulfilling and more like a meal to me. Like I could have an adult Lunchable for lunch every day and be completely satisfied, because I will pick like good things that are special and feel more like substantial than like a slice of cheddar cheese from a sandwich. Oh, these. Okay, so we've been cooking a lot of meals, and I've been doing a lot of searching for like carb-friendly options. And I have found these Mission Carb Balance tortillas. They're nice. I do really like them. There's another one, and I think it's like Carb Smart tortillas, and so they're still like low carb, lower net carb. This one has 4 grams net carbs per tortilla, which is nice. So yeah, if you make a quesadilla or if you have 2 tacos, then it's going to be higher in carbs, but it's still lower than it would be if you were using the original kind. So it's little things like that that you can swap out to make smarter choices that help. Even if you're not doing like strict keto, it helps to have options like this, and it's not a bad option. Like it tastes, to me it tastes just the same. I'm not saying that because like trying to convince you, but like I don't think cauliflower crust is the same for a pizza. Don't try to tell me that cauliflower crust is better for a pizza than original crust. It's not the same. If I want pizza, I don't want cauliflower crust pizza. There's a time and a place for that, and it's not all the time. And when I really need pizza, I need that pizza to not have a cauliflower crust. I need my pizza to taste like pizza. So anyway, but this really, really does taste just like an original tortilla. Like I can't tell the difference. They're a little bit stickier. They stick together in the package, which is really annoying, but I can't tell a difference in the way they taste. This is something I've been using for a really long time, and I've been using this not because of keto. Like I didn't start using this because of keto. I started using this because I had surgery on my foot. It's a long story, doesn't matter, but I was having like joint issues. And I was looking for something that would help me with like joint lubrication and kind of help that joint, you know, work itself out and move better. And so I found like collagen protein would help me with that. Among other things, collagen protein has a lot of, you know, health benefits and whatever. So anyway, I've been using these. I put them in my coffee. It's like a white powder. Hold on. So it comes with a scoop, and you're supposed to use 2 scoops a day, and 2 scoops is 70 calories. But 2 scoops is also 18 grams of protein. So I will put 1 scoop in a cup of coffee in the morning, and then if I have a second cup of coffee in the morning, I will have it with my coffee in the morning. So I'll have 2 scoops in the morning. If I only have 1 cup in the morning, I will have like coffee or tea at night and put it in that. But it dissolves completely. It is completely flavorless. If it does anything to my coffee, it makes it almost like creamier somehow with like the texture. So I really enjoy putting this in my coffee in the morning because it doesn't taste like anything and it doesn't make it sticky, it doesn't clump up, and it's like you don't even really know that it's there like at all. It's so perfect. So we have the auto ship. I found it, you can buy it at Target, you can get it on Amazon. I am now, like we were doing the auto ship from Amazon and now we're doing the auto ship from Vital Proteins, like from their website because it's cheaper. So just like look for the best deal if you're interested in that. I know there are a ton of like protein powders that you can put in your coffee. Some of them are like flavored and some of them are really like fun, like mocha flavors, or you could put in your coffee. But like this you could put in tea. I've done that before and it doesn't change the flavor of your tea and it doesn't change the flavor of your coffee. And so it dissolves completely, which is so important to me. And I don't let clumps of protein powder in my coffee. I just don't like that. But it was something that I used before keto, and then I found that it helped on keto, especially with the pie chart on my app, because you know, you need so much protein and it can be really hard to get that much protein into your body. And that's a really good way to get almost 20 grams of protein in a cup of coffee. Like it's so easy for me to do. Something else I've been putting in my coffee are these Jordan's skinny syrups for coffee. This is the pumpkin cinnamon roll flavor. We buy these at TJ Maxx of all places. They're cheap and you don't need a ton for your coffee. They can be really, really, really sweet, but they are keto friendly. So if you are looking for a coffee sweetener option, I get mine at TJ Maxx. You can get them on Amazon. I don't know where else you can get them. Like sugar-free coffee syrups are great, but the Jordans from TJ Maxx, you know, where they're like $3.99 a bottle, are my favorite, just because like you can find some really weird flavors. That was the pumpkin cinnamon roll and oh my gosh, it's so good. And moving on from like snacks and food items, I want to tell you about some of my favorite meals. Now, we have several keto cookbooks, but this one, the Keto Diet for Beginners, if I can find this on Amazon, I'll link it in the description box. This has been my favorite keto cookbook. We have a ton of like recipes tagged on here. We have tried so many recipes out of here and all of them have been so good that we would make them again, but we keep trying new ones out of this book because they're just so good. So I wanted to tell you about some of my favorite keto recipes. And because it can be hard, right? You are thinking keto, what can I have? You think immediately steak and Brussels sprouts. And that's a great keto meal, but it can get really boring after a while. And so you're just thinking, how do I dress up these Brussels sprouts? When you should be thinking like other proteins and switching up the vegetables, and like sauces can make things really exciting. And you know, even looking at different cultures of food, it can be really cool. So like I have found, looking at my list of favorite keto meals, we really turned to like Tex-Mex food. So like chili was a really big one for us because it was so easy to make. It was so low in carbs, so high in protein, and we could freeze it in like a Ziploc bag, freeze it flat, and it was so easy to like defrost that it would, you know, it's perfect. But anyway, I make this thing called El Tapatio. If you are from the Tipton, Missouri area, you know that there used to be a Mexican restaurant in Sedalia, Missouri called El Tapatio. El Tapatio had this, it was served on like one of those fajita platters, and it would come out of the kitchen steaming it on fire. But what it was steak, onions, bacon, and cheese. And that's all that was on the skillet, steaming skillet, and it was just so perfect. And so I have started making that here at home, and it's perfect. You can put it in one of these low-carb tortillas, or you can just eat it with a fork, which is mostly what I do. It's easy. You grill a steak and you cut up cooked bacon, you like grill an onion with your steak, and then you top it with Monterey Jack cheese. It's just so easy that like I don't even know that it's worth a YouTube video. If like I might make it on my Instagram stories sometime, I don't know if you're interested in that. But another thing that I make is called choripollo, which is chorizo with chicken and cheese. So it's It's a little bit spicy, mostly saucy. I've made this for Adam and Sherry in Alaska and they loved it. So you cook like a tube of chorizo and then you drain it mostly. So you take the chorizo out, leave some of the chorizo like fat drippings still in the pan, slice up your chicken, put it in the chorizo fat and cook it till it's done. Then add in the rest of your chorizo and then stir in cheese until it melts, and it makes like this really sticky, delicious, flavorful, super flavorful sauce. And then you can like eat it in a bowl over like cauliflower rice, or you could have it on one of these carb balanced tortillas. But I just think, oh my gosh, it's so good. Like, I'm salivating thinking about it. Again, steak is a really good option. It's so easy. You can like put a steak, if you don't have a grill, just put it on a skillet with like garlic butter and you cook it, and it's delicious and it's perfect and filling. And like, who doesn't love a good steak? Like, I don't even know that I could be friends with you if you don't enjoy a good steak. Taco salad. If you want something lighter, you know, to me, it's all about flavors and textures and feeling full. Like, if you're just gonna cut up lettuce and put tomatoes and cucumbers on it, that's fine. But like, I really enjoy having some olives and some like marinated garlic cloves or some taco meat or salsa and like pickled jalapeno, like diced jalapenos. And that's just, it's so easy to make. Like, if you have your taco meat already done, it's really easy just to throw together a taco salad, and it's delicious. So now I want to talk about my favorite recipe that I have discovered on keto. This is not something that I made before keto, and it is something I will continue to make probably forever just because it's so good. We discovered Indian food on the Disney cruise. We were never like really into Indian food. We didn't even have a good reason why, just because we had never had it. And then we were on a cruise and somebody had special ordered Indian food, like at a table near us, or we were sharing a table with somebody, and we got to try it because, you know, they had more food than they needed, and so they let us have some, and it was so good. So then we started thinking about other Indian food, and then in this book there's a recipe for butter chicken. Butter chicken is so good. It is not spicy. If you want it to be spicy, you can make it spicy. If you don't want it to be spicy, then you just make it the way that it's supposed to be made. It's such a delicious dish that you serve over cauliflower rice. So you make your cauliflower rice and then you stir in as much cilantro as you can. If you like cilantro, you can't put enough with this, I don't think. I think you should have more cilantro than rice, to be honest. But the chicken itself is cooked in this like delicious spicy sauce. It's not hot spicy. It's filled with spices like cinnamon and garam masala and cumin, and I put a little bit of curry powder in mine, but it's so good. So I started making butter chicken last night. So I have to marinate the chicken overnight. So I started marinating the chicken last night. So the way I start my butter chicken is I take a large container for like leftovers and I put in the yogurt, and then I squeezed some lemon juice. We have a lemon tree here, but our lemons aren't ripe yet, so we had to get our lemons from Publix this time. But the recipe says like 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I use about 4 just because our yogurt, our homemade yogurt, is so thick, and so you need a little bit more juice to loosen up the yogurt. And then you start adding in the spices. So you need a tablespoon each of garam masala, of turmeric, of cumin, and then 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. But I add in just a little bit of curry powder just because I think it rounds it out just a little bit more. And then you mix all of that up. So yogurt, lemon juice, and your spices, mix that up. And then you have someone who it doesn't mind raw chicken cut up the chicken for you. I don't like chicken, and so I don't like cutting up raw chicken. So I had my mom cut up the chicken for me, and then she added the chicken in, and I stirred up the chicken with the yogurt spice mixture. And you want to coat every piece of chicken. The idea here is to marinate the chicken overnight so it's absorbing those flavors. You are not going to throw away any of that flavor, but you just want the chicken to kind of soak it up overnight. So that's what our chicken is doing in the fridge right now. So I'm going to take you guys into the kitchen. We're going to make butter chicken right now together because this recipe is my favorite keto recipe. And like, it doesn't even have to be keto. If you wanted to serve this over regular rice, you can do that. If you don't want to eat keto, I don't blame you. But if you are looking for a good keto recipe, this one is so filling. It's just so, it makes my tummy happy because of the sauce, because it's just delicious. I just think it's perfect. So we're gonna go into the kitchen. We're gonna make butter chicken right now because we're gonna have that for dinner. We've got enough, so we're gonna have dinner tonight. We're gonna have leftovers to share with other families, so it's just gonna be good because we've got a family who is like really close to us and they wanna have the butter chicken. They haven't tried it yet, and so we're gonna give them some of our leftovers. But anyway, we're gonna go into the kitchen. We're gonna make butter chicken right now together because I wanted you guys to be able to see this delicious recipe. So we're gonna cook it together, okay? Let's go. Okay, I am in the kitchen now. I've been doing some prep work. I've got some things cut up. I've got some chilies in the microwave, and I'll show you that when they get out. Trying to soften them up just a little bit so they're ready to cook. And I wanna get the seeds out because they're just too hot. But I'm gonna show you a little bit of my prep work. I have chopped up, diced up an onion. I have a 1/4 cup of butter. The recipe calls for ghee or duck fat. I'm using butter because I have butter, because I don't think it really makes a difference, and I don't mind the lactose in the dairy in the butter, so I don't care. I've grated some fresh garlic. This is 4 cloves, the recipe calls for 2, and I wanted 4, so I'm doing 4. This is 2 tablespoons of ginger, and instead of grating my own, ginger's annoying to me, so I just buy it in that. These are the chilies that I'm using. We bought this in like a bulk pack from the grocery store, and we really only need a couple of them. I microwaved them for like 3 or 4 minutes in water in the microwave to soften them up just a little bit. So I'm gonna slice them down the middle, pull the seeds out, chop them up really small, but I don't want them to be so hot, which is why I soften them up and then pull the seeds out. Over here I've got my chicken broth. I'm using that chicken bouillon you guys saw in my dog food video, and then this is tomato paste. We'll use that later. But now we need to cook the onions in the butter in this big pot for about 7 minutes. So we're gonna get that started right now. I'm just cooking these onions in the butter, and they're starting to turn translucent. We want them to be just a little bit brown, not really brown, but just a little bit brown, and then we will add in the garlic, the ginger, and the chilies. While those onions are going, I'm just going to cut open these chilies, get these seeds out. Remember, don't touch your eyes after you play with these, because these are still hot, but I want to get the seeds out because they're like so unbearably hot. If you can take the heat, then fine, but like one of these with the seeds is too much for me. I can do several of these without the seeds though. And the innards, the middle part of that chili is just so hot. And they're easier to cut this way after you've, warmed them up and sort of steamed them in the microwave for a few minutes. Because if you use them dry, they're just sort of brittle and you can't really work with them, or at least I can't. And if you think that, you can't find these chilies or you don't want to use these chilies, you can use that chili garlic paste that they use in Asian cooking, and it works just the same. It's just as good and not quite as hot. So you can see the onions are starting to turn just a little bit brown, a little bit golden. They're still sizzling. I'm gonna toss in the garlic, the chilies, and the ginger right now and cook that for a few minutes just to kind of get them a little bit fragrant and get that garlic toasted. And I know you can't smell it, but I wish you could because it smells so good. If you like garlic, you're gonna love the way this smells. So after cooking the garlic, the ginger, and the chilies for just a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes is usually enough. I want the garlic to smell less raw. I will turn the heat up because the next thing we're gonna add is the marinated chicken, which I showed you guys earlier. So I pulled that out of the fridge and it's ready to go in. But now I'm just gonna wait for the pot to get up to, like get a little bit hotter, because the chicken, when we put it in here, is gonna drop the temperature of this pan a ton because the chicken is cold and there's so much of it. And this is when you want to babysit this garlic. You don't want to walk away right now because the garlic can burn so quickly. So you're just gonna sit here, continue to stir it as this pot gets hotter. But then as soon as this pot gets hot enough, we are gonna toss in, drop in this chicken. And I think we're about ready. So this is the chicken that I showed you guys earlier. I'm just gonna toss it in there gently so it doesn't splatter. And you want to get all of this yogurt spice goodness in there because that's what's going to make our sauce. And then try to spread that chicken out on the bottom because you want it all to cook, and you kind of want to get a little bit of a sear on that chicken. And you want to stir those onions with the garlic and the ginger through all of the chicken. After getting the chicken and the onions all combined, we're gonna let this cook for about 10 minutes. I will stir it a couple of times between now and then, but mostly we just wanna get this chicken cooking. So meanwhile, over here, I have my chicken broth that I've made. I have my tomato paste, which I actually kept in the freezer because you never use like a whole can of tomato paste at a time. So I always put it in like little individual baggies like this because I know I'm gonna make butter chicken. And so this is 3 tablespoons and I need 3 tablespoons. And I'm gonna go ahead and mix this into my chicken broth because it actually dissolves better into the sauce if I do that first. So we let the chicken cook for a few minutes and it's starting to pull apart into individual pieces of chicken instead of looking like one giant glob of chicken. So now I'm gonna add in my chicken broth with the tomato paste and it's gonna stop screaming. Now it sounds happy. Now we're gonna see why butter chicken gets its name. We're gonna add in another 1/4 cup of butter. So I've cut it into little pieces and we'll just drop them in and let them melt and stir them in. Doesn't it smell good, Mom? Now is also the time you want to add in your salt and pepper. I don't add black pepper because I don't feel like it belongs here, but it definitely needs salt. This is about 2.5 to 3 pounds of chicken. I'm gonna add in about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And stir that in. You can always add more later if you need it. It's starting to look delicious, but we're not done yet. The recipe calls for 1.25 cups of heavy whipping cream. I never use as much as it says. I usually start with 1/2 cup and go from there. I'm gonna use the same dirty measuring cup I was using, but I'm gonna start with 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream. We will stir that in to the butter chicken in just a minute. But sometimes I think that's all that it needs. I want this guy to boil first before we add in the cream. We're gonna let it cook for about 15 minutes, uncovered. We just wanna kind of reduce this, get that chicken a little bit softer in there. I didn't mention this earlier. You can use white or dark meat chicken. We used chicken breast this time. We've used chicken thighs before, but you just wanna cut up your chicken into bite-sized little pieces. I don't know what meat is traditional with this, if it's white or dark meat. I honestly don't care. Use what you have, what you can find, and it's gonna be just fine. All right, normally I would wait just a few more minutes, but since we've got 2 hungry alligators in the house that are surfing the kitchen, I'm gonna go ahead and pour in the cream now. I'm also gonna turn off the heat right now. We're gonna stir this in, and look at that color change. Oh, and it's starting to get like really creamy. Of course, cream will do that. And then we'll just let this sit for a couple of minutes, and we are going to cook the cauliflower rice now and then stir in a ton of cilantro into the cauliflower rice. serve this over the cauliflower rice, and don't forget to add some sauce. All right, so I've got cauliflower rice here, and I stirred in a ton of cilantro. Gonna dish it up for Mom. And then I'll dish up some of the chicken. I'm gonna make sure to get some chicken and then go back for the sauce. And it's just so creamy and flavorful, not too spicy, but really delicious. And then it looks like this. So I'm gonna serve this to Mom. So there you have my keto favorites and my very favorite keto recipe. Mom, do you have anything to add?
And her favorite mother.
Yeah. She's my favorite. So you guys will see me in another video really, really soon.